a position like this in a long time.
Right.
10 damage above, no one really around them. They're not, you know, completely shot out for loot or anything. No one's even focusing them. Vidil's alive. Everything looks good for the duo. Meanwhile, Pablo Bevis found their next target. Blow on very fast, forcing a lot of pressure inside the storm. Once again, slurps will be popped. This zone means nothing to these guys. They basically put on a filter to where it doesn't even exist. They're playing in Ultra 4K HD. Meanwhile, everyone else 240p inside these boxes. They can't even see where they're coming from. Pablo with the right side pressure just wants that full elimination, wants some more damage. There it is. I think on the other side it looks like Slurp can tick, but you only can take so much damage and then go down. Another Slurp popped. They're gonna be able to big chill. Surge actually knocking them down too. Pink by himself, but he knows this too. Okay, one shot is all it takes and he's down. These guys just have such a soundproof strategy. A little behind on damage, but they can just keep fighting box to box to box all the way to the next zone.
Definitely not at the damage threshold though that we've come to expect by this point from this duo though. And Pablo and Bevis know it. I mean, they're working a little bit against the clock there, not trying to take too much damage from these actual Storm Surge tags. Hallie and Nefrizi find themselves in a similar position now, just a little bit below. One good shot on the man pistol would be all it takes, but this is the real challenge in a set lobby, Shayo. And even though it's the last chance major, nothing comes for free. Howley and Freezy looking for any sort of opening, but none of these teams are giving anything up. Just so many builds coming out, so many protective mats, a nice connection though finally from Howley off that man pistol. It's going to put them just above that Surge damage threshold. Slurp plants also putting in work in terms of providing ample heals without Howley having to expend a Slurp juice just yet. But the water rotate, they know they've still got their work cut out for them. And they're not in the home stretch just yet.
Yeah, tricky for Howley employing the strategy of looking for highlights on these shots. It's gonna force him to be a hero instead of just a salary man hiding free, more consistent damage overall. You just go for the Mammoth Pistol, it's gonna be tough to stay on track for your damage. Meanwhile, 7 below for Bevis. Pablo Wingu, haven't really seen them in the spot at all, at least on the back half of Major 3. A lot of the times they can't cheat about 200 damage overall when it comes to off-spawn fighting, right? They always seem like they're fighting someone, so they might be expecting to have that damage under tow for them, but it's not going to be the case this time because they aren't contested. They have to force this fight quickly. That meter jumps all the way to 132 that they need at 153, evens it out and gives them a little bit of an advantage, but they need to finish this fight as fast as possible. On the ball, it's not going to be enough. These brick walls you can't really break through, and as a result, they hold on. Pablo Bevis go down game 1, much to everyone's surprise.
Definitely a bit of an upset, I'm sure, for that duo, but for Bala and Alex, a nice refresh in terms of mats. Not much else, though, that they could really collect here off of Pablo and Bevis, given all those heals that we had seen Pablo and Bevis collect. I mean, they'd had to expend practically everything by that point, Shayo, right before they were eliminated, just because of the fact that they were itself, but just by the storm damage, they weren't able to get their surge up high enough. And while it is unfortunate, I mean, that's the thing, is that you've only got 5 games left to go, so adaptability at a rapid rate is a must.
And 2 good games for Pablo Wingo and Bevis is 6 average games for everyone that plays inside EU, so these guys are not going to be looking too sad coming into game number 2. Meanwhile, though, we'll watch the rest of the lobby rotate. Ushistedo getting busy with it. Need to move up, and up. We're going to such a long zone, moving in 20. Got a lot of things. We're actually locking in 20. You got a lot of things to check on that checklist. One of them being damage. 144 now that Lucia needs to get. Pushing over to Howley, but he goes down. On the left, an extra player to be able to fight with as well, but he goes all the way up. This might be absolutely chalked for these guys. Wow. A second in the air, a mammoth shot followed by a beam. Lucia's down up to Steno now. 180 damage below. He's gonna go in for baiting the body of Luce, but it's not gonna be enough. He's gotta get back to zone.
But for Steno right now, the primary issue is just the fact that everybody seems to have spotted out where Lucy and Steno were at. And so he will eventually meet his demise there as well. Didn't really have many materials to work with either, so building up was just too much of a challenge to actually overcome that slight hill. But Vidil on right above that damage threshold in a pretty good spot, right next to each other. just gonna do a little bit of cone peepage now from the deal, trying to scout where their next tarp out might need to go. Cheating on the other hand won't even have a chance.
Estas dos políticas, aunque se vean como tus tías buena onda, son jinetes del apocalipsis. Esta enviada especial de la Unión Europea nos viene a dar muy buenas noticias. Dice, ¿sabes qué? Las sanciones contra Nigeria están funcionando. Ya no tienen suficientes medicinas, ni comida, ni electricidad.
Same predicament, attempting to get the big off. It's not like other teams have to fight them just because they're charging their boxes.
Back, so just play defense, let them come to you. Low amount of damage numbers for a lot of the teams we're watching, though. It'll be interesting to see where the comfortable players are, who's really going for hype for the moment, who's locking it down. Belusi Vortex have a lot more than just playing this in-game on the line. They're going to be able to focus on the position as much as they're looking for shots to stay inside the game. We'll be going even higher, though, towards snow mountains and glaciers. It's going to be Curb all the way up top, looking good. Maker from Nyan together on a fight against TKR and Combat. Going to be tough to them down below. All also on the backside going to move towards the zone. Teams on all sides.
Ale dojdziecie do króleczki widzitelni, techniczki, tam tu była długości. To tam jakie potrzeba?
Opportunity though for Vasquez to try and collect just a few more placement points. Knows he's got his duo charging right above him. It seems to be the priority of so many teams right now. As for Veal and Savage, they're trying to work their way through these mid-ground layers. There's just so much congestion because of the natural terrain that these teams are going to have to actually start building over soon. Enough. These moving zones, they're about to be brutal for so many of these duos that are just not on that slight hillside.
It has to. I mean, no mats at all. Teams on this low ground, but just split from side to side. We're basically watching two solos play now. We're doing for anything to damage tax. Keep playing on different coasts.
Magnezyum. Jego play. Fuck? Jak to takowe śpicie może wiedzieć? Ale jako zmieniło to tak. Że się tak upłynie jako... Co źle.
Savage not by himself. Fadil got him to this spot, but how far can this rocket shine?
With no mats left, Shio, I believe that Savage is in quite a tough spot. He's trying to do a desperado play, and it's not going to work out in his favor. Winds up falling to pressure from other teams breaking through his builds. Now Bala, same predicament, likely to be taken out by this team on height. And for Curb and Fire, bro, they're just doing their best to try and stay ahead of everybody else. Try to keep charging towards that front side of zone from height. Kaizen now, another solo in this lobby, trying to make it happen without Clement by his side, but with only 4 builds remaining, so many of these teams just in such a tough position because they can't tarp. They just have nowhere left to run. They're relying on just praying no one's gonna be on the other side of the builds they break.
Lucia, though, has got all the way to this spot, past all that turmoil. Firebro up top is expended all his mats to be able to have that position. So Lucia, depending on what he gets over here, good fish for the tools to be able to win this game, maybe even in a 1v2 type style. Unfortunate, though, no connections here just yet. Opponent on the other side of the box, and he's trying to wrap around the shots, not really connect with much now. Curb and Firebro, perfect type of game from start to finish. Held height for so long since that 8th zone. And now it's all about just a tiny little 2v1 that they can easily land on the Lucia. What a nice game one for these guys to start things off in EU.
And that was all just Curb and Fire, bro, with the most ideal positioning imaginable. I mean, being the team that's on height, largely uncontested, it didn't seem as though anybody else even had some sort of opening to look to chop this team down. They did a great job, again, just making sure to continuously spray onto those mid and low ground layers, just refusing to let anybody have an opportunity to challenge them or chop them out from height.
Yeah, I mean, there's an ancient saying, right? If your feet are stuck in quicksand, you can't jump. And that low ground might as well have been tar and oil combined with the sandiest sand you've ever seen. No chance for anyone to even look over at height if they can't look at the feet below them. And as a result, Firebro and Curb stay high and dry, win that game. Beautiful execution. And you'll have to see Curb pop off.
Yeah, you can see the passion in that player cam as well, and for good reason, because again, 6 games played and you're taking the victory royale in game number 1. That is a huge momentum swing and a massive confidence boost as well for that duo.
That really good spot to start off at in general.